What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one, I want to talk a little bit about the defense, right? Now that we've added Jermaine Pratt to the formula of the defense, right? Shirt up what was probably the weakest spot on the entire roster, right? Now we slide Jermaine Pratt in there. And so it's like, okay, what else do we need to do? Obviously, the cornerback room has been ravaged with injuries. Kenny Moore getting back on the, well, not necessarily back on the practice, so he's not practicing. But they did work him out today. He ends up getting held out of practice, which is to be expected, to be completely honest, and wouldn't expect him to play this week. But the fact that he's starting to get back out there is promising, and then he's coming along is a promising sign, especially with Mike Hilton going on the IR. So with the cornerback room being what it is, there's a lot of talk of, hey, we should go trade for a corner. I would still be okay bringing in a guy like Stephon Gilmore. I think that'd be interesting. I think something more prominent in that regard is probably going to be Asante Samuel Jr. if he gets cleared to play this month. He's supposed to meet with doctors at some point in October, and we'll have that conversation. I plan on making a different video about the cornerbacks, but with what we have going on the defense, we obviously need to have more success rushing the passer. Now, we were able to get after the quarterback against the Titans, who have a bad offensive line. We were able to get after Geno Smith with the Raiders having a subpar offensive line. And, you know, we got after Matthew Stafford a little bit. Guy that doesn't move a whole lot. And so coming into week 6, it's like, okay, we need a dominant pass rusher. When you look at the defense, you look at how we're competing, you look at our road ahead. Like, if you add a dominant pass rusher into what we have, this defense is going to be outrageous as a team. We're already going to be one of the tougher outs in the league. We're going to be a tough team to beat. But if you add a dominant pass rusher, that changes the game, right? So I went through every team just looking at different situations of where we could possibly go and what we could possibly do. And, of course, in the past, we've talked about restructuring contracts. If we're going to get anybody, we're going to have to restructure contracts. Right now, and this is on over the cap, and Jermaine Pratt is not formulated into what the Colts cap is right now. So, and honestly, I don't know if Michael Badgley is either. As I sit here and I look, no, Spencer Schrader's still on here. So Michael Badgley's not on here either. So our cap number is honestly probably lower than this right now. $4,063,299 is the number that is on over the cap for the team cap space, right? And again, that's without Jermaine Pratt, without Michael Badgley. So that number's probably even lower. So who we can go get is going to be limited. You can only restructure so much. There's a lot of people on the team that really aren't making a crazy, I mean, they're all, millionaires, but in terms of, what the highest paid guys are, like, it's not like you can restructure and open up a bunch of money all the way down the line. So you're restructuring DeForest Buckner to open up $16.3 million. Michael Pittman Jr. opens up $8.4 million in a restructure. Quentin Nelson opens up $7.654 million in a restructure, and Jonathan Taylor, if you restructure his, $5.4. So I mean, there you can definitely open up some. Again, DeForest Buckner is the biggest one, and if you're going to restructure anybody, restructure him. Give him some more guarantee. I mean, he already has $23 million guaranteed, but restructure, open up $16.3 million. Him and Michael Pittman Jr. together, you're opening up a little more than, or I guess that's, a little more than $24.5 million, right around $24.7 million, restructuring those two. Quentin Nelson, you add him into that formula, we're right around $35 million. So, like, it's possible to happen, right? You add Jonathan Taylor, you're right around $40 million you can open up in restructures, which would help the formula as you go through the year with the way injuries are, with the situation that we're in. Like, opening up $40 million would be great, right? So, looking at what we have, obviously, as talked about so much through not only this channel but other Colts channels and social media, people talked a lot about Trey Hendrickson. But the Bengals just traded for Joe Flacco. They continue to be in the mindset of, we're trying to win this year. They're trying to make, generally what they're trying to do is, hey, we made the decision to pay Joe Burrow a crazy amount of money, We paid 2 wide receivers, which nobody is doing, and everybody ridiculed us for it. And then now we've paid Trey Hendrickson. So all of our cap money, most of our cap money is based into 4 people, and we have to make it work. If we don't make it work, people are going to make fun of us, and people are going to talk about how stupid we are. And I mean, rightfully so. Like, there's nobody else doing it the way they're doing it. Like, they tried something. Joe Burrow got hurt. It really wasn't working with Joe Burrow. It's not working without Joe Burrow. They got Joe Flacco. So with the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, like, is only going to get traded if the Bengals continue to not win and we get up to the trade deadline. So, like, in terms of, like, an immediate answer in that regard, Trey Hendrickson is not an immediate answer. That's one that we're going to have to circle back to if they continue to lose. And if, Latu, for as much as he's winning, like, all the different metrics that come out, like, the amount that he wins, we need him to get the sacks, right? We need him to win at the quarterback, not just win in pass rush rate. We need him to win at the quarterback, and we're just not getting that right now. So in terms of, like, the immediate answer at being able to get after the quarterback, Trey Hendrickson seems unlikely right now, but could be somebody that we look at more toward the trade deadline. Now, somebody who's recently come up in conversation because of the way the Raiders are doing, even Raiders fans are at a point where it's like, hey, we love Max Crosby, but he's great. Let him go win somewhere. Like, they're all on the point of letting him go somewhere else and be able to win. Now, the problem with Max Crosby is that his contract is ridiculous. His cap number, like, the cap number for Trey Hendrickson is $25.166 million, right? And then, of course, if he ends up getting traded, let's do trade post. So if they traded him, it would be $16 million in cap savings for them, and would be a $9.166 million in dead money. Right, so again, that's a $25.166 million cap number for Trey Hendrickson. Cap number for Max Crosby is set at $38.153 million. So all the money we could possibly, that $40 million we could open up, $41 million we could open up, Max Crosby takes almost all of it, right? So if the Colts, now that would be a win now move. Of course, if you're trading for Max Crosby, that is a win now move. But you have to factor in the number that he's making this year. Then you're going to have to restructure contracts next year because we have guys that we need to re-sign. This isn't going to be the same team year over year. There are definitely some moves that are going to have to be made for both top of the roster and bottom of the roster for the Colts as we go into 2026. So there has to be some cap available. And for the Colts, let me go see the cap number. As it's slated right now, estimated cap. Of course, we don't know what the cap number is going to be for every team next year, but estimated cap for the Colts next year is $59 million. How much of that could possibly be, of course, Daniel Jones? And then you factor in the cap number next year for Max Crosby. If you traded for him this year, $35.883 million. So almost $36 million. Right there, which leaves you with not a whole lot, right? When you're going for Daniel Jones, that leaves about $22 million-ish that you're looking at there, $23 million. So Max Crosby, as great as it would be, and as much as I'd love to see Max Crosby wear the horseshoe, that one seems less realistic to me just because his contract is so ridiculous, right? $32.5 million guaranteed this year, $30 million guaranteed next year, and then no guaranteed money after that on the last 2 years of that deal. So it's hard to see that one being realistic. So I don't know if that one's really an option. Now, one that I think is interesting, as I was looking through the different teams, looking up different contracts, Matthew Judon, who, of course, he's getting older in the league, and now he's part of an edge rush group where he's kind of the third man, right? You think about who the Dolphins have, right? They drafted Chop Robinson last year, and he's been good for them. They also have Jalen Phillips, who, as long as he's healthy, he's a good rusher as well. And then they have Matthew Judon. So, and I'm sure they enjoy having the depth and having that rotation and having those guys hunt the quarterback. But for all intents and purposes, Dolphins, not a very good team. It's not working out for them. He's a veteran in the league. Hey, maybe at some point he asks them, hey, can I go somewhere else? His cap number is $1.64 million. So you're talking about not even having to really do any restructuring of contracts if you go and trade for Matthew Judon. And a trade for Matthew Judon, like when you talk about Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby, you're really going to have to give something up. Even though those guys have massive contracts, they're still really effective edge rushers, which is one of the premier positions in the NFL. So even going after those guys with big contracts, in terms of draft value and any other value in a trade that you're going to have to give up, you're giving up a decent bit. So Matthew Judon is a very interesting situation here. As I looked at, I couldn't believe it. $1.64 million is his cap number. And right there, I think that becomes a very interesting option. Somebody that's proven in the league. Again, he's 33 years old. But he's been there. He's done that. He can still be effective off the edge. But we're talking about game-breaking edge rushers, right? We need somebody who can come in and be great right away, right? And then I look elsewhere, right? We go toward another veteran in the league, one of my favorite players for a long time. Great personality, great player. Somebody I like a lot is Cam Jordan, right? Cameron Jordan with the New Orleans Saints, been there his whole career. And he was a first-round pick, 24th overall by the Saints, and he's been incredible. He's probably at some point future Hall of Famer. He's been absolutely incredible, and his cap number this year, $9.775 million. So a little bit of restructuring, but we can make that work. And then next year, and I don't know how the voided contract situation works. His cap number technically next year is $18.76 million, but his base salary and his guaranteed salary on here is voided. So not exactly sure how that situation works out. I think that's more of a situation where the Saints, as they continued to try to compete, they kept reworking contracts to push money into the future. They've kind of done themselves in. Next year, dead money is $18.76 million for Cam Jordan. After that, $10.24. Then $4.276, and then even in 2029, $959,000 in dead money because of the Cam Jordan contract and what they've tried to do. So the Saints have kind of done themselves in terms of dead money year over year and trying to push things into the future. But and that's why I think offloading his contract is going to be tough because you've pushed it so far into the future. So Cam Jordan, as much as that'd be great, I don't know if that's an option we're going to go in, as we have so many people coming up that are going to need to be paid. So many young guys that Ballard has drafted that now that we have a quarterback, we're starting to see the success that this team can have. So you start to think, okay, this guy should be paid. This guy should be paid. This guy should be paid. And with all these different guys needing to be paid, having that much dead money going into the future because of contract restructures that the Saints have done, it just seems unlikely that they're going to be able to move him, which is unfortunate. Again, a veteran player that I'm sure would love an opportunity to go and be great somewhere else. Like if he gets traded, it would be in a situation where he agrees to restructure his contract in a way where the dead money in years after doesn't affect the team that he's going to, where he might even have to take a bit of a pay cut going somewhere else. Where, I mean, even his base salary this year, $1.255 million, guaranteed money, $1.255 million. Like the money just isn't there. It's just a situation that, as much as it'd be cool to see Cam Jordan come here where he's at in his career and with the way the contract structure is set up, I just don't see that being something that we go after. Now that we're done with all the veteran players, right? We talked about Hendrickson, Crosby, Judon, and Jordan. Now let's talk about younger players. We talked in a video recently about Kayvon Thibodeaux, right? Kayvon Thibodeaux is still an interesting option. He's performing this year. He's part of a rotation on the defensive line. Abdul Carter has been incredibly effective. He leads all rookies in terms of pressures with 22. The next closest is 11, James Pierce Jr., who, that's a guy that I was eyeing in the draft that we could add to the rotation instead of picking up Quiddy. I was hoping instead of picking up Quiddy's fifth-year option, we could draft a guy like James Pierce Jr. He ends up at the Falcons. And he's been effective, but Abdul Carter, easily the most effective, right? And Brian Burns has been really good. So with the Giants having those two, and again, they like having all three guys, I'm sure, but in the situation that the Giants are in with the schedule that they have, like they have a rookie quarterback, rookie running back. It's unlikely that they're going to really compete this year, right? So could there be a trade for a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau? I think that is possible. This is one that would probably still be closer to the deadline, but I know Adam Schefter said that they're probably going to be trades every week leading up to the trade deadline, and that could just be fodder. But I mean, we saw 2 trades just yesterday, right? Joe Flacco gets moved. There was also another trade that off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was, but there were multiple trades that happened. So if Kayvon Thibodeau is an option, that's probably, of everything we've talked about here, Trey Hendrickson would be great, but of all the things we've talked about here, I would love to have Kayvon Thibodeau. I believe his 5th-year option was already picked up, and his 5th-year option money in terms of cap number is going to be $14.751 million. And so when we're talking about these top-level pass rushers, Hendrickson and Crosby, right, specifically Hendrickson and Crosby, cap number is going to be lower. It's a guy on a rookie contract, even his 5th-year option. You can put him on the line, have him, Latu, Grover, and Buckner. That would be incredible. Like that's honestly, of all the guys we're talking about, that's my favorite option on the defense. Now, another option, as I was looking through, and the last option that I came across that I thought would be realistic, that I liked, is Will McDonald IV with the Jets, because the Jets, obviously 0-5, they're the worst team record-wise right now in the NFL. They're not going to be competing for anything. If they want to continue to try to build that team, maybe they look for some extra draft capital, and maybe Will McDonald can be one of those guys that they offload, right? I think it makes sense. Where they're loaded at is the defensive line. So if you bring Will McDonald in, I think that would be effective for us. You look at his rookie season, he only had 3 sacks. But last year in 2024, even with the Jets not being a great team, he plays in all 17 games. He ends up with 10.5 sacks, right? Double-digit sack guy. So it's not like he's, top of the league. But last year, Hendrickson was at the top of the league with 17 sacks. Right, so you get a guy that has had double-digit sacks in his career. So far this season, he has 2 sacks. But again, it's part of a rotation. Aaron Glenn, the only rusher that he really had effectiveness with was who's the guy, edge rusher for the Lions. You guys know who I'm talking about. I can't remember his name right now. I don't know why. He's a Michigan guy. I can't remember his name. But nonetheless, right, he's incredibly effective for the Lions. He's one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. Aaron Glenn really, and shout out to my guy Derek over at Lions Syndicate. He's wanted a pass rusher for so long, because with Aaron Glenn, they really couldn't get after the passer. And now he's with the Jets, and it's kind of the same situation. They're just not having success. That defense isn't very good. Even with Aaron Glenn being a defensive-minded head coach, it's just not working out for them. So Will McDonald could be an option. But again, not my favorite. I think the most realistic, and I think my favorite option continues to be Kayvon Thibodeau, with what the money is, fact that we would get him this year and next year. Right, with the guys that we have to pay, with the guys that we need to look towards the future of, we need these guys on our team for sure. Kayvon Thibodeau, even if you didn't want to pay him for after 2026, you have him this year and next year, while you have still some flexibility and some money to bring back guys that are already on the team, and then go into the offseason looking at free agents. How can we make the team better? Next year, you get Justin Wally and Hunter Wohler back, right? If you add Kayvon Thibodeau into the situation this year, next year, I think that is a win now move. I think that is the ideal move that the Colts can make to be a contender, right? And I mean, to be for sure a contender. I feel like we're already in that conversation. People talking about, Colts can contend, dark horse to be a Super Bowl contender. You add Kayvon Thibodeau to that rush, then I think we're a threat to anybody. Even if you have to trade Kayvon Thibodeau for Kwity Paye, right? Something we've talked about before. If you have to trade Kwity Paye, he's on his 5th-year option. Give him to the Giants, so the Giants still have a rotation of guys, but their main guys are always this year going to be Abdul Carter and Brian Burns on that defensive line. So if Kayvon Thibodeau is available, please, Colts, go get Kayvon Thibodeau. Between Henderson, Crosby, Judon, Jordan, McDonald, and Thibodeau, I think the situation I like the most when you take everything into account is going to be Kayvon Thibodeau. This is the guy that I hope we go for. This is the guy that I think helps vault this defense to that next level while we wait for the secondary to get healthy. When the secondary gets healthy, I think we're in a good spot if you go get Kayvon Thibodeau. I think we become a top 5 offense and top 5 defense if you go get Kayvon Thibodeau and the secondary gets healthy. It's incredible. We're, in terms of scoring, we're 2nd in the league in scoring behind the Lions. We're 5th in the league in terms of points against. Okay, I think it's 83 points, I believe, is the number that I saw that we've given up on the season. So we're doing an incredible job right now, and you have to be able to add the right people. But I think Kayvon Thibodeau is an absolute dog. I would love to see him change from one blue to another. Going from the Giants to the Colts, I think that would be incredible for us. And of everything we've talked about here, Henderson, Crosby, Judon, Jordan, Thibodeau, McDonald, these are the guys that, as I searched through every team in the NFL, these are the ones that I came up with that the Colts could look into and try to bring in an edge rusher. So you know what I think about it. Now it's time. I want to know what you think about it. Get down in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are of everything we talked about. What situation do you like the most? What situation do you think we should go after the most? And how do you think we should go about it? I told you about the restructures we could do to even be able to bring in a massive contract like Max Crosby, but what it would look like for us in the future and for right now. So with all that information, I want to know where you guys are at. What do you guys think? You let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Of course, if you enjoy the content, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure you guys subscribed with notifications on. Got plenty more content coming for you guys. So make sure you guys are getting notified for all of it. Going to be live on Sunday. Hope you join us for that. And as always, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.